Yeah, it was disappointing, obviously, for everybody. You know, probably the season could be summed up with our first game here. We weren't great in the first half. Second half, we picked up and we were considerably better. But ultimately, in the end, we just came up a little bit short, you know, and that was the story of sort of history kept on repeating itself. We just kept on coming up short time and time again. Bar there was only a couple of games that there was a couple of goals in the games. Every other game was either 2-1, 3-2, 1-0s, and we just always end up on the wrong side of them results, which was very disappointing for a number of reasons. We relied far too heavily on Curtis to provide us with goals. We didn't create anywhere near enough chances. The balance of the setup of the team was just wrong. That's how I've always felt. I felt it from the day I came in. I didn't feel that we had players that overly complemented each other. You know, we were much of a notches in every position. That's not to say that they weren't good players, because some were very good footballers, like you mean. But again, it was just the balance of the whole team just didn't mix and it didn't work. So it never, and ultimately we paid the price of that because we lost games of football. So we've had to address that, and that's something we've looked to do. And that we've had a bit of a clear out. There's 7 players gone, and we're looking to build a team that's full of team players now, that complements each other, that give us energy, that give us pace, that give us endurance, over the course of what's going to be a hard season.
And games against Linfield last season, we performed well, albeit we got beat, but the Boxing Day game being won, your first game, the players reacted. Does it not frustrate you that games like that, where we've competed with Linfield, who went on and won the league and the cup, but it's games against Ballina-Mallard and Dungannon, no disrespect to them, where we have just not turned up? Or
absolutely.
What do you put that down to?
Pure mentality, a weak mentality, I suppose. I have to put it down to, because if you can go to Seaview and get a point, if you can go to play Windsor and get a point, if you can beat Cliftonville here, if you can draw with Glenavon a couple of times, you go to Ballymena and get wins, then why is it you can't do it against the bottom 6 sides? We fettled away far too many points this year, and again, it's just a weak mentality. Attitude can't change. It can't change from when you train to when you play, or who it is you're playing. You got to be on it every single week, every single training session out there to compete at a club like Glentoran. That's the expectation of being a Glentoran player. That's the expectation of it. Is that that's what our fans want. They want people who's willing to run through brick walls for them, So, and again, it boils down to mentality. We're going to address the balance of the team and that, but ultimately in that, there's certain elements you can't coach. You can't put the heart into them, and you can't put fight into them and spirit into them. And again, I'm not saying that's what players didn't have. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, we need to fight for what we all believe in. Everybody's got to buy into what it is to play for Glentoran, and we need to get a tight dressing room. We need everybody to step up. We need our young players to hit the ground running, but we need our senior players to really step up this year. We need Curtis's and Elliott's and that there who have done last year. Again, no coincidence, them 2 boys won Player of the Year, and Elliott was up there competing with both of them with Curtis. And we need Marcus Kane to be fully fit and flying like he does, because Moko could be a massive player for this club. We need Callum Burney to really step up this year and show what he's capable of. And we need every senior player out there who's still at the club, and out there Stevie Gordon's, Willie Garrett's. We need all them players out there leading the way. And then the kids around them will bring the energy, they'll bring the enthusiasm, and hopefully we'll play with a tempo and a pace and an actual energy in that there that will excite the fans and really get them engaged and get them back in for the turnstiles.
Last season, training nights were training 3 nights a week, which is more than the majority of our East League teams. In matches, you kind of got the impression that the players just couldn't complete 90 minutes at times. What if you put that down to anything? Natural
athleticism, probably a little bit. We did more training than any other club did last year, and it wasn't like we were turning up and out there and just going through the motions. We were turning up and we were working every night we were here. We were Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. We were in the gym every Monday night and out there, and the boys got hammered. So they did, they got absolutely hammered. And then Tuesday night they worked hard on Tuesday, and then Thursday night was a wee bit more of a tactical night. So it was in terms of set up and defensive responsibilities and set pieces, etc. But again, it's just we lack that natural kind of energy about us, so we fade it out of games because we were trying so hard to compete with boys out there who were naturally better athletes than us. So they were that they just ran out of steam, no longer games win, and we never finished games particularly strong. You know, can't Cliftonville here where we came back from 1 down and win 2-1, but other than that I can't remember too many games where we actually turned it around and we finished the game much stronger. We did it in patches, so we did, and the boys showed what they were capable of in patches, but again it was just that togetherness that we lacked in that there. So whenever the chips were down and it got really tight and that, like, I mean, we weren't fighting for each other the way we probably should have done and what we were capable of, you know, and that boils down to, again, individuals taking care of their own jobs and then not really kind of doing enough for the team. So I've said this from the day I came to this club, and I want players that don't want to just turn up and do enough. You know, enough is not enough. I've said it time and again that, like, you always have to be prepared to do more. You know, job and a half. You know, these are things that I have echoed, and if it doesn't sink in with the players, then one or two things happen. You know, either I go or they go. You know, I've had the opportunity now let there, so unfortunately not there, and it's never a nice part of the job. We've had to let players go, but in order to do that, it means we have to bring players in to replace them that's different to the ones going out. You know, and that's not a disrespectful thing, that, because that's going on all over the country. So it's going on in England, and it'll go on in every country, in every league. Players come and go. You know what I mean? It's just nature of the game, so it is. But the kids and the young players that we've brought in so far will bring a certain element of energy, enthusiasm. You can already see it because we continue to train because of the Detroit trip. You can already see the energy levels are starting to rise. So you can see the natural athleticism we have with the 4 boys that we've brought in. And
you touched on it there, saying, you know, players need to do more and it's a job and a half. You know, this is a semi-professional league. We train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then play on a Saturday. Do you think the players need to do more and have the right attitude when they're not at Glentoran? I think the Wednesdays, the Fridays, and the Sundays.
Yeah, I think, you know, you don't have to make hundreds of thousands of pounds and that to call yourself a professional. You're professional in your attitude. You're professional in your approach. You're professional in what you do whenever you're not at this football club. You know, it has to be that. You know, if you finish a game on a Saturday, your preparation has to start for the following match, and that there as soon as that game finishes. About what you eat after that game, what you drink after the game, how you recover after that game on the Sunday, how you take that recovery into Monday to be prepared to train again and go again that Monday. You know, how you carry that into the Tuesday. What you do on Wednesday night, is it a recovery night, or are you just sitting in the house and that there just taking it easy? You know, professionalism costs you nothing. And it costs you nothing. I know boys who play in the amateur league that don't pay a penny or don't get paid a penny, but they're professional in whatever they do because they give themselves the best chance to be the best version of themselves they can be. That's all I ask of these boys, not there to respect what it means to play for a club of Glentoran stature, and then be the best player you want to be the best version of yourself you can be, and if that means doing extra, then you're going to be ahead of everybody else. It's not rocket science.
You said again there, you've had to release players. It's not a nice thing to do. Do you just want to touch on the 7 players that were released, or some of them? They're
all good lads. I couldn't say a bad word about them. Sometimes you let a player go and out there and you're glad to see the back of them. I wouldn't say I'm glad to see the back of any of the boys because they were all fantastic guys. But the problem was that there again, it goes back to this balance and addressing the balance. You know, there was a lot of big earners that was in amongst that group as well. You know, that comes into obviously part of your thought process and that there whenever you're looking to bring players in and let players go. But ultimately in that there, everybody has to take responsibility for last year. You know, I can't throw the onus on the board. You know, the truth of the matter is the team that was earning decent wages and that they're underperformed, underachieved on the pitch. You know, we didn't make European football. We got knocked out in the first round of the Irish Cup. You know, fans, we finished 9th in the league and that there. I don't blame fans in that there, you know, for maybe not wanting to come and watch their team being down at 9th. It's hard to keep turning up there and watching your team and that there. We're in the 9th in the league and we're not bringing the success. Our home form was dreadful too, so I can't go out and blame them. You know, I got to look at myself and think what more could I have done. But the players ultimately have to take responsibility too. You know, and then of course, you know, when we're looking to build again that there, that's when the board have to work incredibly hard. But it's, you know, it's a collective effort. So it is, they're working hard to make up the shortfall of not having European money. You know, they're working hard for making up the shortfall of not having gate receipts. They're going to work hard not there for making the shortfall of what the team didn't produce. So ultimately in that there, they cannot point the finger at the club and say it's your fault. You know, they cannot point the finger at the fans and say, or he didn't like me, or they don't want me. You know what I mean? They have to look at themselves, and that's what we all have to do. But I want to have people here at this football club who want to be at this football club and want to play for this football club, and it means something to play for this football club. Now, listen, I'm not pointing the finger at anybody who's went out the door. And I'm not saying anything ill of them, like, so not at all, because I got a lot of respect for the players that have gone, like, and why they were here. They gave their best in that there. I do believe they tried their hardest. The bottom line was we didn't produce. The bottom line, it wasn't good enough. The bottom line is that there we had to move on, and that's what's had to happen.
And the players have gone. Jay McGee's been here a number of seasons. Experienced player. Stephen McAlorm, captain. Won the Irish Cup twice. Nacho Novo, an experienced player. Does it concern you in any way that the players we've released are more experienced players and they need to be replaced?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, but that's why I go back to saying, like, people like Johnny Addis and Willie Garrett and Stephen Gordons and Marcus Keanes and Curtis Allens. These are guys who not all have hundreds of games under their belt. Elliot Morris has played here 15 years. You know, if they're not experienced players now, I don't know who are. You know, there comes a point whenever you become an experienced player, not like to me, but again, you can use experience in whatever way you want to use it. Like, you know, I can use experience. Again, this isn't a slight on the players that we let go, but if you're an experienced player, you know how to hide. If you're an experienced player, not that you know how to get away with things. If you're an experienced player, not that you know where to deflect the responsibility. That's not what I'm saying with the players that we let go, but I'm just saying is that's the way you can be as an experienced player too. So it can work both ways. So it can, you know, but yeah, I understand that. I mean, we've brought in young players so far. You know, people want to see proven quality. What we have is we're saying potential. You know what I mean? And with potential and with development, it takes time. It takes time, and people have to be patient. So it is, and that's not something Glentoran fans have ever had to be used to. You know, we've always had success and success on top of success on top of success. But there comes a point now, Darren, we're at that point where the club have to look at the longer term future. Like, I mean, the club have to look at a sustainable future, not there one that's not built on rocky foundations or misguided or business plans, you know, which is pie in the sky. We can't spend money we don't have. You know what I mean? So if we don't have the money, so we don't the massive amounts of money that the club has spent in previous years, then we're going to have to be cute. We're going to have to be smart. We're going to have to recruit. And we're going to have to work harder. You know, that's what we're going to have to do, not there in order to move the club forward. But I'm determined to do it. The players all seem to be very determined how to do it. Like, I mean, and the board are determined to work as hard as they can. And if the right player comes available, the right senior players not there, and we feel they bring something more to the group, then we will do everything we possibly can. And this club will find a way out there to sign the right kind of players for this club, you know. So I'm not worried about it, you know, about replacing senior players, because what I already have is a group of very senior players. You can almost have too many senior players as well, you know. So again, that's about addressing the balance.
And the senior players you have at the club, what do you expect to see from them in the coming season, personally, and you know, with the younger lads that we have in the team?
I want to see again the same kind of levels of performance that Curtis Allen produced. Now that's why we re-signed him. You know, Curtis again hit nearly 20 goals. You know, he's done that consistently since he signed for this club. So, you know, Curtis does what he says he'll do. You know, and I'll back him all day long to get 20 goals again next year. Elliot Morris not there. You know, again after this time last year, Elliot was having real problems with his back and was really struggling with it, like so he is. But again, he's come back so strong this year because he's gone away and done extra. He does his own programme. He looks after himself in a different way away from the club, and that's held him in great stead. You know, the guy's 35, 36, not there, but he's in fantastic shape. We also have Dwayne Nelson here, who again showed in the last game of the season here, not there what a quality goalkeeper he is too. And so the two of them boys are experienced, and they'll both keep on nudging each other along to see who wants that number one shirt. With the likes of Willie Garrett, Callum Burney, you want to see them step up. You know, Willie's had a frustrating couple of years now, with the injuries that he's had. You know, but we need a good run of games, so he does or a run that there without picking up a serious injury and that, and hoping he can hit the ground running. Callum Burney needs to fulfil that potential that we all know he has. You know, he's got it he's got potential to be as good as he wants to be, but he has to fulfil that. You know, Marcus Keane, we need him to stay injury free. You know, Marcus is as good as anybody in this league in any position that he plays, not but again he has to stay injury free. He has to work hard, not so he does at every aspect, not there when he's away from the club, and when he trains that day, he trains like a machine. So again, I'm asking all my senior players, I'm asking them all to step up, and I'm asking the kids to go and play with an element of freedom. So I do, you know, to go out there and have a go and play with energy and enthusiasm in the right end of the park.
Okay, we've signed a number of players so far. Dylan Davidson's came back from full-time football. Corey McMullen, John McGuigan, both from the Championship. Daniel Kelly from Carrick Rangers. Just want to talk to us a bit about them, boys.
Dylan Davidson is a lad, I've known his father for a number of years, a good personal friend of mine. That's not why I've signed his son. I've signed his son because he was a word beater as a kid. He came through the youth ranks, and you could see the potential in him was massive, and he was always going to go to England. He's went across to Preston, and he's had 2 or 3 years of gaining real experience and playing at that level and understanding that level. So he does. Again, he's back home now, so he has, and he's an exciting talent. He's a left-footed player. He can play up front, he can play off the left hand side, he can play in behind a striker, and he scores goals because he loves scoring goals, and he loves getting on the ball and playing, and he's an exciting talent. So he has. So it's been good to see how far Dylan can progress. Obviously Corey McMullen, he was in the running for Championship Player of the Year, only pipped narrowly like by John McGuigan, another player that was signed. Corey obviously played for Ballyclare, and it's no coincidence that Ballyclare and Warrenpoint had the seasons he had with these 2 boys in their team being very, very prominent players. Corey can cover every blade of grass on the pitch. His energy levels are frightening. So it is how much this guy can run. He can get up and down. He can score goals. He battles. He battles really, really hard. Not like he's 6 foot. He's quite aggressive in nature. So he is not about whenever he crosses the line. He does, and I'm excited to see how Corey can develop. You know, but what he does do is bring us lots and lots of energy in the middle of the park. John McGuigan, obviously. Our fans know a bit about John, that there from his first spell here at the club. Was young, needed opportunity, so he did to mature and progress. And that, like, so as he's went out, he's gone to Warrenpoint and he's proved himself. And what John McGuigan done this year is he scored 20 goals playing in the Championship. He's Championship Player of the Year. What that lad done was made it impossible for anybody to ignore him. So he did, you know, with his level of play. And he's got his own business now, and he's got his head really screwed on. He knows what he wants, and he comes back here with a real purpose. He wants to show everybody here now what a good a player he is, and I think John will do that. Like, you know, he comes in and his enthusiasm levels is up here, you know, and that's, I think, something we lacked last year. I think we were all here, you know what I mean, and nobody was taking us here. So not really, no, because that was just the level of us. We were just flat. So whereas you need them players that give you that spike, that gives you that there burst that changes the game, that either takes an opportunity or makes something out of nothing. You know, and a lot last year, whenever games were relatively tight, we always would have fell on the wrong side of that result because we didn't have that wee spark that would have kind of taken us on, really. You know, so that's what John's going to bring. Dan Kelly, I worked with him at Carrick. Again, and I look back at my time at Carrick, so I do, you know, and Dan Kelly was one that came through with real potential. But again, you look at the players that have moved on. You know, Bam's moved on to Cliftonville, Aaron Trainor's moved on to Coleraine, Conor McCluskey moved on to Ballymena, you know, Andrew Doyle moved on to Glenavon, you know, Adam Sally's moved on to Portadown. You know, all these boys have moved on to big things. You know, they're all playing for teams at the top half of the Premier League. You know, so, you know, we put that squad together because we seen potential in them, and potential can take you on to that next level. You know, I seen the potential in Dan Kelly. I've always seen the potential in Dan Kelly. Aaron Harmon moved here to obviously the Glens too as well. Sorry, but I've always seen the potential in Dan Kelly. He's 6'3". He can play centre half. He can play centre midfield. He can score goals in this league, because if he can score goals for Carrick in this league, then he can certainly score goals for Glentoran in this league. But he's a kid who I just love his professionalism, because he lives and breathes football. He's a 23-year-old who rarely doesn't take a drink, who lives in the gym, who is very grounded and works incredibly hard to be the best version of himself that he can be. The kid just wants to be the best, so he does, you know, and in order to do that he makes the sacrifices that's required to be the best. I'll work with somebody with that mentality, with that attitude all day long, 7 days a week. I'll work with a boy like that, because if he wants to improve and he listens and he learns, so he does, you know, that's what I want from the older group. I want everybody to want to improve. You know, if they think they're the finished article, I'm telling them they're not. You know what I mean? They can always improve. We can all improve. I can improve. I'm away doing the pro license this last week. I already feel like I have improved, and I've taken lots from it. So it is. So again, it's just about keep on pushing everybody forward, and it create an environment where enough is not enough, that you've got to do more. Like, I mean, if you want to stay at a club like Glentoran, enough is not enough. You got to do more than what everybody else is doing in order to stay at this level.
And Daniel Kelly, you know, the player you mentioned there, said he can play centre midfield, centre half, or centre forward. Similar to Johnny Addis, when Johnny came to Glentoran, you know, he could play out in the left, midfield, up front, and in defence. Where do you see Daniel Kelly playing for Glentoran? Where do you think is his best position?
Well, we'll see where we need to be strengthened. So we'll need to see in that. Like, I mean, like I said, Dan can play centre half or centre midfield. He's played right back for me as previously, and that, like you say, striker. So he has that versatility about him, as does James E. Farron, as does Moko. You know, Moko can play left back, left midfield, centre midfield. You know, so centre half if need be, I suppose, as well. But where we feel that it's the best place for him to play, you know, I wouldn't want to pigeonhole him too quickly into a certain one position. I think what he does is he gives me fantastic options in 3 different areas of the park, but it's up to everybody else to step up. You know, if you get that shirt in your back and that there, don't lose it. You know, I'm not going to say I'm bringing him in here to play centre half, because that would be disrespectful to Callum Burney or James E. Farron or Johnny Addis or anybody else who's a centre half. You know, so what I'm saying is earn the right to put the shirt on a Saturday. And that if I name that team and I put you in the team, you'll have earned the right. So you will do by what you do in training, by how you turn up, by how professionally you are, about what you do away from the pitch. Not like, I mean, away from here, because you hear everything. You know, people thinking that they're getting away with things, not there, but you don't get away with anything, because people will talk. You know what I mean, and it's impossible to escape their attention. So I'll pick the team in that there I think that deserves it most come a Saturday. And if Dan's in that team, then great, he will deserve to play it, and whatever position he plays in it will depend on what everybody else does around him.
And we're at the tail end of May. You've made 4 signings. The window doesn't officially open until the 1st of July. Have you any more irons in the fire? Have you any other players you're looking at?
We have several irons in the fire. So we have Aaron, like, I mean, we've talked to a lot of players already. So we have some have not been right for us, like some haven't accepted offers, you know, but we continue to work hard for the right kind of player for our club. We're speaking to a couple. We're hopeful of getting one done within the next 24-40 hours, obviously before we go away to Detroit. So we'll do. There's other ones that there's maybe more of a longer waiting game. So we are, but we're prepared to wait for the right player. But again, you've got to show a hunger and desire to want to play for this club. You know, you may be thinking out there the season that we just had, that there's maybe not as an attractive proposition, but this is Glentoran Football Club. We've got a fantastic support. So we have, you know, we play in front of the biggest crowds every single week. If that doesn't motivate you to play football, then, you know, if it's money your master, you know, the money will come and go. That's the nature of it. You know, it'll come and go, but what you'll remember when you finish that, there won't be how much you earned. It's what will be the big games that you actually played in. You know, the big games, the Belfast Big Two. You know, there's no game like that in the Irish League. You know, we finished 9th in this league and we still had the 2nd highest attendance in the league. What would we not be like that there if we were up there challenging? If we were pushing on, if we were achieving all the goals that we want to achieve? You know, this club and the potential, and Glentoran aren't used to hearing that word, Glentoran and potential, because we're used to winning. So but that's where we find ourselves, and that's what we have to do. We have to develop these younger players. In order to develop anything, it takes a wee bit of time. But with the right senior players around them, with the right kind of opportunities for the kids and that there, and them taking opportunities, then the potential is massive.
You mentioned there the potential we have of a young team going forward. Suppose a positive in last season was the fact that we've brought in Conal Delaney, Salou Jalou, Dale McCreary, Carl Hamill, to name a few. Tiernan McCauley started the whole season, unfortunately got injured. You know, going forward, is that the model Glentoran are going to have?
Trey Sterling, you missed there as well. We train Carl, like you say, Carl Hamill, Paddy Cafola, you know, lots of young talented boys at this football club. You know, yeah, I think it is not like, I mean, it's a sustainable model. So it is, you know, with the right blend of senior players not there, and with the right calibre of talented boys. Now we can't just play them just because they're young or they're cheap or anything like that there, like that isn't the case. You know, it's a case of we give them the chances not there because they're good enough. You know, the shirt not there, you know, you can't go out there and feel the weight of it. You know, you have to go out there and embrace it, you know, playing for Glentoran. So yeah, it's a model that we're going to go down. You look at what Korean's done in the last couple of seasons not there by bleeding younger players not there. They've had an outstanding season. That's a sustainable model for them, a club that went very close to going out of business. So they did, you know, because they spent beyond their means. So they did, and they've built themselves up now there to be in the position now where they've got European money and a lot of good young players who are only potentially going to get better. You know, we're in the same position. We find ourselves now where we have to go down the route where we sign players that fit into what we have to spend in terms of budgetary, but we'll still fight out there and compete to sign the best players in this league. You know, if we don't go after them, we're still trying to get the best players that we can bring in. So it is. So yeah, I think it's a model we'll look to trying to build on, but we're going to be judged because everybody is in that. Like, I mean, you're going to be judged very, very quickly on how we do at the start of this season, you know, and if we don't hit the ground running and we don't achieve everything we want to achieve, then it's going to be very, very difficult, and it's hard for younger kids not there, because the last thing you want to do is put more pressure on them, you know, and I'm not looking to do that. I'm looking to release the kids of the pressure, and I wanted to say and go and play. You know, I mean, within a structure, within what I want them to do, but go and play, go and express yourself, you know, the world's your oyster. Why not? Now, like, I mean, every kid now would want to play for Glentoran Football Club. It's a massive opportunity. You play in front of massive crowds, in front of a club in that there that has a massive tradition of being the best.
And you mentioned there with Coleraine bringing young players through. You think it was maybe 18 months to 2 years ago, Oran Kearney, tail end of the season, said, you know, I'm playing these young players because we've nothing more to play for. They're obviously seeing the rewards from that now, given the successful season they've had. How long do you see these young players coming in and making an impact like of Lyndon Kane and the boys down at Coleraine have done?
I think already they've had a good ground out there the last 3 games of the season. Obviously they came in and played, and people will ask questions why they didn't play sooner. You know, you've got to pick the games that's right for the kids to play in too. You know, you've got to kind of, they have to be ready for it. They've got to take the opportunities. I've said it before, you know, I went and watched a lot of 20s games, and I wanted people to grab me. So they did, you know, and say, look at me, Gary, don't leave me out of the team. And I wanted that from them, and I wouldn't have ignored that, because I was down to play the younger players. The opportunity came about because what we did as a club was we underachieved. As a team, we underachieved. So we did. So because we underachieved, not there, then it became their time. So it did, you know. And we played against the bottom 3 teams, the bottom 2 teams in the league, and then ours. And that we played here again, and we played very well. And we should have won that game as well. But it was the right games for them kids to play in. It was the right opportunity. It relieved a wee bit of pressure on them, so it did, and it was more of a case of just go and play, and they really kind of played with a freedom. I want them to continue to play with that freedom, and I want to continue to develop them players. You know, they've still got a lot to learn. They've got a very, very lot to learn, but they're keen and they're open to learning. You know, it's a growth mindset within the club now, so it is where we're going to kind of really see how much we can get the best out of every player that plays for the club. You know, so that's what we'll look to do.
And going on now towards the coming trip to Detroit, you know, it's obviously a fantastic opportunity for you to get this group together for 4 or 5 days and go out there, play a match, train with each other, and, you know, the most important thing is bond with each other. I'm sure you're looking forward to that trip.
I found that was something that was maybe a wee bit lacking whenever we came in here last year. You know, they were all very, very good lads, and they were all very civil with each other, like, you mean, and they all got on. But I didn't really see that bond, that real tightness, that close-knitness. Like, it just wasn't quite there. And sometimes that's just the dynamics of a group. It's not always, you're not always going to go into a dressing room and be your best mates. You know, I've said it before, not again 3 times in 20 years of playing football. Like, I mean, I felt that I had a real unity and real togetherness with the players in that dressing room. So it doesn't happen everywhere you go, out there, but that gives us a perfect opportunity to go and try and integrate the younger players who came into the squad. The new boys get to meet some of the other players out there and see, can we get them relationships formed nice and quickly, because ultimately if you don't trust the guy that you're playing with and out there, it's going to be hard. It's hard out there, like, especially if you're getting it tight and you want your mate to dig you out. It's tough, and the only way he's really going to dig you out is not there is if he's invested in you and you're invested in him. So it is. So that's what's going to get you results, and that's what gets you over the lines in tight games. When it's close, that's going to be the difference. And too many times it was a difference for us last year, and we went up on the wrong side of it because we didn't have them bonds, we didn't have that togetherness, and we didn't have that belief in each other probably that we needed. But yeah, Detroit's a great opportunity, and we have to be massively respectful of the Detroit Cougars who went before us, and we'll go out there and try and do them proud. And
you touched on earlier on, yeah, you're learning yourself as a manager, as a coach. You've done your pro licence the week past there. What was your pro licence like?
Fantastic. I love the experience. I love being around professional people, like, who who can offer you so much. You know, we Harry Kuehl just got a job there today with Crawley, if I'm led to believe. You know, so it's fantastic for him. He was there learning the same way we were. You know, and he's been at the very, very top of his profession. Got a Champions League winners medal. You know, laying in the house. So he has. You know, so it's a great opportunity for him. Again, if you can't go along on these courses and learn off people like him and Liam Rosenior, and people like Michael Beale, who's assistant manager at Sao Paulo. You know, I mean, if you can't learn off a person like Michael Beale, then yeah, you're in the wrong business. You know, and these courses are fantastic for throwing all them characters together and putting them in a big melting pot, like you mean, and it's great to mix in that kind of company. You know, throw in as well like Eddie Howe, who came in there's part of the pro license and did a question and answer thing with us. Michael Caulfield, who's a clinical psychologist and stuff like this, and there's psychiatrists on this course. I think we all need to lie down after a week, like you mean, of spending the week there. It's very, very intense learning, and Nigel Best does a great job every year about the coach education system in Northern Ireland. It is absolutely buzzing, and there's so much eagerness to want to learn, but it's learning off for each other and learning off your peers and yeah, it's a fantastic course, and I really enjoyed it. And it's only the beginning. You know, it doesn't finish till next November, so it gives us an opportunity now to meet up at different stages and pick people's brains and see where things are. And if you can only get one a little bits and pieces of each person, and you can put your own blend on it and put it into what you do, then it's all very worthwhile.
And finally, just to finish off with the season ahead, what plan for Glentoran going forward this season?
Busy pre-season, one that we got to really concentrate hard on and make sure we get right. Again, it's maybe a bit of a criticism of what the players were coming back with to me last year, that maybe pre-season the intensity just wasn't quite right. So it is that they didn't feel that they maybe worked quite as hard as what they maybe could have done. Again, that's not a slight on anybody at all. It's you know, it's a judgment thing on what you want to do personally. I know the players are going to work incredibly hard this year. I know we're going to be as fit as we possibly can come that first game of the season. We've got games coming in thick and fast, and that there of clubs that we want to try and cater to. Like, we want to go out and get as many games as possible, because that's ultimately what gets you fit. And we need to hit the ground running. So we do literally hit the ground running and play with a high tempo, high energy game. So we do that. So involved in that there with players of wanting to play, wanting to get on the ball, be brave, be leaders. I need leadership, and that, it's something I'll be crying out for all season. Who wants to step up and be a leader? You know, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to Detroit. I don't really want to stop. I want to keep training, because we've been training that there. So we have with the Detroit trip in mind. I don't really want to stop. But the players will get a couple of weeks off now, like 2 or 3 weeks is all they'll get, and then they'll start back again, a couple of weeks rest, and really come back in here, 24th of June, absolutely buzzing to get going, and that's hopefully so that's what I'll be doing, and I hope that's what the players will be doing as well.
And going forward now for the season, what can the fans expect to see from this new look Glentoran, and what do you expect to see from the fans?
I hope the fans get behind the young players that we've brought into the squad. You know, I hope they get behind the players that are here. Ultimately, we're all in this together. We all want the same thing. We want the best Glentoran team we possibly can have out there. We want to bring pride back to them after a season of disappointment and just let down. So it was, I want to fill the fans full of pride. We all want the same thing, and that's all I can say. And I want energy in my team. I want to be the polar opposite of what we were last year. That's what I want. I want us to play with energy and tempo. So it does, and play a style of football that's going to be easy on the eye. And with the players that we have, I don't think we have an alternative. I think we can only do that. Is play with a style that hopefully will be pleasing on the eye.